with our programming. So in this session, I'm going to uh, give you the example like how do you debug your program. So whenever you are creating any application, there are chances that whatever the code you have written, it is not giving expected output, or maybe it is giving some kind of error, or you need to understand like whatever the business logic you have implemented, it is running or giving the same output as you wanted. So in that case, what happens, like you need to debug the program sometime. So how do you do it? I mean, this is something right now I'm doing in a particular standalone class. This will be, I will be discussing this in a more appropriate J2EE application or the Spring Boot or microservice architecture. But here, to understand the basic, I just started with the standard application. So let's say I'm creating one application with a test, and this is the class, and I'm creating one method which is public. Let's say it is not returning anything right now. Let's say iterate example, right? And I'm saying for loop int I equal to 0 semicolon I is less than 10 semicolon I plus plus. Now what I will do is I will say sys-o. This is the shortcut for creating the writing the system.out.println. So you will write sys-o and type control space bar. So it will give you this pop-up, and once you enter it, it will automatically write system.out.println. This is available with the Eclipse or the STS only. So I could simply print here, print I, let's say, and I'm saying plus I, and give some space. So let's call this method. There are two ways. Either I could make this method as a static because I'm calling it from this main method which is static, or I could create the object of it. So let's select the first way, new test dot iterate example. Okay. Now I want to know like how it is iterating and how it looks. So this is a bit smaller font, so I need to increase the font. You can increase font from here, general editors, simply click on it. Yeah, it's correct. Sorry, the text editors, and there you will go to colors and fonts. Here you could actually change it. So text editors, and here is correct. To select Java header, edit, and from here let's say 16, apply. Okay, so you can see the font size has increased. So for running it, simply you could click top of it. Before that you have to put the debug point. So for debug point you need to click here, double click, that is left of mouse. So I'm clicking here as well and here as well. So once you will click it, this break the breakpoint will appear here at the line, then only you could debug it, otherwise you cannot debug it. So right click, instead of running as Java application, debug as Java application. So in my case, debug is already configured. If you have a new IDE setup, then it will ask you your permission to set up the debug point. So that you need to take care of. So see, this has come here. Uh, Argument is 0. Either you could use these shortcuts, or you could use the your function keys for the debug. So like, let's say I'm using the for step into F5, for step over F6. Let's say I'm using the F6. So in my case, like it is this function key has a different function. So I could use the alternative function key, but I would like to go with the this shortcut. So I will say next. So see, the object of test is created. If you could see, and I could simply, if I will call this should go to the this method. So if you see F6, you see, so it came here. So I is initialized with 0, all those things. So this debug point is also here. So I will say see, the value of I is 0. It is not incremented yet. So if you could see, it is 0. If I will say F6, it will print 0, and it will go for the increment, next increment. And if I want, I could check it simply by selecting the logic and right click, and I could say inspect, right? That I could, or I could execute that. So let's see what is the value of this. So it is saying true. I is less than 10. It is saying true. If I will say plus plus and see inspect, it will say 0 because it is not incremented yet. But if I want, I could just simply execute it, right? So uh, that will, so or I could put it into the watch also. So if you see, the value is 3, right? So debug it again. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is less than 10, so it will go till the 9 only. So this is how you could debug your Java code into the STS or the Eclipse uh, IDE. So another thing is like we used to pass the argument in the command prompt when we were running the example. We could do the same for the IDE also. So before doing that, you just need to configure it. So you have to go here, debug configuration, and in the arguments here, you need to pass the argument. Let's say I'm passing 10, and I'm saying apply debug, right? So if you could see, I'm getting this argument 10 value in index number 0. So I could simply pass this value args here 0, because this is in a string array value. I need to convert it into integer dot parse int. This I will discuss it later, that how do you integer, I could simply say int uh, count, let's say count, right? So if you remember, this is the wrapper type, which had the method parse, which you could directly convert it. For the wrapper type, you could simply go back to my videos. I will add that video link in the description. So if I'm running in this, I will simply say debug, Java debug, see 10 came here. I could simply say this, the value of 10 is 0 argument is 10. It will simply convert, inspect, see this value, and if you will go for the next step, the value will come here. So it will simply run as usual like we did previously. I could remove it. Now it is printing the values. So this is how you could set the argument as well.